Alright, I know I'm late. Cut me some slack. I had some technical difficulties with the other video I was trying to post. Here we are, our January wrap-up. Yay! My first monthly wrap-up after doing booktube for like 3 years. I don't know, guys. I don't know. You guys have asked for monthly wrap-ups, and I'm finally getting around to doing it. I will try not to be this late every month, but better late than never. Before we get into the 5 books I read in January, I know, I'm so disappointed, only 5 books, but I blame Onyx Storm. Onyx Storm gets 100% of the blame why I could only get through 5 books in January. Before all that, before we talk about those books, I'm doing a giveaway! You know, I love to give you guys books. I love to send you all books. I'm gonna give away an Onyx Storm. So let me grab it. Alright, if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, you know that I picked up a copy of Onyx Storm on release day because I was scared that the one I had pre-ordered like a year in advance would not come in with the like sprayed dragon edges because I was scarred from Fourth Wing and ordering Fourth Wing with the dragon edges and it coming in completely plain. Anyways, I ended up getting 2 Onyx Storms. I'm gonna go ahead and open it with y'all so you guys know that it is fresh. It has never been read and it's for you guys. I also need to get my receipt out of here so you guys don't see my information. Ooh. Let's see. Yep, there she is. And she has the sprayed edges. So, if you guys want this brand new copy, just leave your Instagram handle in the comments and I'll probably give it about 2 weeks for people to see this video, watch this video, and then I'll message one of y'all. I usually put your guys' Instagram handles in a wheel and let it randomly draw a name. Brand new, guys. Brand spanking new, never read. I'm not even gonna open it, and I'll send it to one of y'all. Also, another announcement. Not trying to plug my Instagram, but I think this is really cool. I am giving away a Target collector's edition of Onyx Storm over on my Instagram, and that giveaway ends on February 25th. So get your butts over to my Instagram and enter in that giveaway because I can't believe I got my hands on 2. What happened was, long story short, my Target ended up restocking after I was there at 6 a.m. and couldn't get my hands on one, and I finally got one, and I called my husband telling him how excited that I got like the collector's edition, the one dragon, and he told me that he had bought a copy from a reseller. When he found out I couldn't get it for my Valentine's gift, he had bought it off eBay. You know how much money those resellers were selling them for, so I felt so bad, but at least I get to give one to y'all. I'm always trying to give y'all books. If you don't know that already, I'm always doing giveaways. So yeah, okay, now that that's out of the way, we can talk about the books I read last month. The first books I read of 2025, which is exciting. The first one I read was Taming 7. I don't know if I've talked about this with y'all. Yeah, I did in my last book haul. If y'all have not picked up the Boys of Tommen series yet, if you've not picked up Binding 13, I don't want to ruin anything by talking about the 5th book in the series. I will say I was in the biggest reading slump of my life, like the second half of 2024, and this series yanked me right out of it. And I think it's like a combination of the drama, the nostalgia, the coming of age, and the like complex characters that make this series so addicting. This book was the first book about Gypsy and Claire, and Gypsy is one of my favorite characters in the series. You don't know, every 2 books of the Boys of Tommen series is about a new couple. Again, I don't want to ruin anything, but Gypsy and Claire, I don't think that's ruining anything by saying that this book is about them. It was really fun to read because it was like a sunshine love story, not like grumpy sunshine. They're both sunshine. They're both so outgoing, both so fun, both so loud, both like adventure seeking, and friends to lovers, like have been friends since they were 4 or 5 years old. So just reading about their story and all the fun they get into, it was just so entertaining. Their banter is just so fun and so full of humor, and Gypsy is just hilarious. so is Claire. So even though there is very serious topics in this book along with the rest of the Boys of Tommen series, it was still fun. It had a good balance of fun and seriousness. I felt like the more I read this series, the more I fall in love with the characters. I just love the found family in this series. I love reading about teenagers or like kids in college, and because there's so much growth at that age, so it's so much, and it's so relatable. It's so much fun to read about that age, and like there's so much freedom at that age, and so anything goes. And I love these Irish rugby playing teenage boys that are protective of their girls, aren't afraid to throw a punch. I love the Irish slang, the Irish culture. I love that it takes place in the 2000s. Again, that nostalgia of like when she mentions certain songs that come on the radio. I just love this series. Is it the best writing or the best piece of literature? Absolutely not, but it's entertaining as heck. Yeah, I really recommend this. If you've read the Addicted series, if you've read Magnolia Parks, I recommend this one if you haven't picked it up yet. I know it's a TikTok favorite, and I think that's for a reason. It's just a lot of fun. All that being said, I did give this book 4.5 stars. The only book I've given 5 stars in this series so far is the second book in the series, which was Keeping 13. Sorry, it's hard to keep track, but most of them are 4.5, in that range. First one down. And if you're wondering what my ranking means, I have put it in the description below, like what 5-star means to me, what 4-star, and so on. So you can look at that if you're wondering. Next up, y'all, 2025 brought me to my first mystery thriller. I can't believe it. After all of these years of reading, I have stayed so far away from mysteries and thrillers. It didn't sound appealing to me. It didn't sound fun. I didn't want to feel tense while reading, feel on edge. I really just seek feel-good reads. Again, not trying to plug my Instagram, but if you do follow me on Instagram, I did a whole mini vlog of me reading this book and getting my reaction to the last 50 pages, which was a lot of fun. I was so shocked after I read the book. I couldn't really get words out, but now that the shock has settled and I have time to think about this book, I can really say that it's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. The Silent Patient is about Alicia, who shot her husband in the head 5 times and hasn't spoken since. It's been years, and because of that, because of this like murderer who didn't try to defend herself in court, never spoke about what actually happened, she kind of became this weird celebrity. Everyone was really interested in her case. She has been locked up in this mental institution since she killed her husband, and then comes along this guy named Theo, who's a psychotherapist and is really interested in Alicia and her case and wants to get her to talk. He wants to know the story, wants to know why she isn't talking, so on and so forth. And the twists and turns of this book, my mind is still blown. How the author pulled off the ending to this book, I don't know. I could never, that's for sure. I could never. But it was amazing. If you're into mysteries and thrillers and haven't read this one before, highly recommend. If you're like more of just a romance or romantasy reader, like some general fiction, and never picked up a mystery, again, I recommend. I did give this book 4 stars. If I was more of a mystery thriller girl, it would 100% be 5 stars. I'm just not as in love with the flow of mystery and not as in love with how real and raw mysteries are. This book isn't like that gory or what's the word? Spooky, as I am assuming other mysteries and thrillers are. Like, I just don't like to feel icky while reading, and this one wasn't that bad. What I mean is about like I don't love the flow of like a mystery. It just feels like you read 250 pages, 300 pages for everything to kind of come together just in the last 50 pages. Where like in the beginning of romances, you get this really fun beginning of the meet cute, and then you get them falling in love, and then you get them facing like some adversity or struggling, and then you get them coming back together, and then you get this happily ever after, and Mysteries just could not be further from that. You are not promised a happily ever after at the end of these books. All that to say, it was a 4-star. It was a great read. I don't think mystery is like the genre for me. Will I continue to read mysteries? Yes, just not like every month. I got one for Christmas I want to read, one that was really popular last year, and that is The God of the Woods. So I think this is the next one I'm going to read. She's a thick girly. This one's definitely on my list to read when I'm feeling up to it. Okay, so that was my second book. Third book. Why do I have all these? I am so confused by Cassandra Clare. I don't even think I actually own the book that I read. Am I reading them in the right order? Can someone help me out? Okay, I read City of Angels, right? That's the name of it. No, that's not the name of it. I read Clockwork Angel. I thought that was the one I was supposed to start off with, but now I also have City of Bones and Chain of Gold on my TBR. Am I doing this right? I don't know. Let's just talk about the book and I'll figure this out later. Hopefully, maybe. Probably not. I had very, very high hopes going into Clockwork Angel because I just feel like you hear Cassandra Clare and you think, oh, she's up there of one of the best with fantasy. But I read it and I just thought everything was average, was okay. I didn't like really love any aspects of the book, but I didn't really hate any aspects of the book. It was just like right in the middle. From the world, the magic, the mission, the characters, the romance, it was just all okay. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't blown away like I was expecting to be blown away. Clockwork Angel takes place in 1878 in London. There's vampires, there's werewolves, there's warlocks, there's angels, there's demons. There's everything fantasy in this book. And the main character is Tessa, and she joins this group called the Shadow Hunters, and they are trying to take down this group called the Pandemonium Club. I think that's right. That is up to some like sketchy business. And it's cool. It's just not mind-blowing. So maybe I went in with too high of expectations. So it was a 3.5 star read. It was just like a little above average for me. I think I will continue with the series. I don't think I will read like, I don't know, I have so many of her books now. I guess I have to read all 20 of her books that are in these interconnected series. I don't know. I think I will read the 3 books that are in the Infernal Devices series. I think that's a series I'm reading. I think that's what I should have started off with. But now I'm so confused and doubting myself. I think I will continue because I have this thing, once I start a series, I have to really commit and finish it, which is a curse. It truly is a curse. Let's start talking about Rebecca Yarros. The next book I read was Variation, and this is Rebecca Yarros's last contemporary romance release. I think it was released in December. I might be wrong, but it was late 2024 nonetheless. It is on Kindle Unlimited if you want to give it a try. Variation. Let's backtrack for a second. Let's backtrack. I love Rebecca Yarros's romances. I'm talking The Last Letter, In the Likely Event, The Things We Leave Unfinished. I mean, come on, all those are so good. So again, I went into this one with high expectations because she had really never failed me with a romance. I don't want to call this like a failure. It was okay. Where was the Rebecca Yarros in this? Like, I don't know. There were aspects of this book that I did enjoy. I loved the female main character being a ballerina. I thought that was really interesting. I loved the male main character being a Coast Guard emergency diver. I thought both of those are really cool. Again, Rebecca Yarros made me fall in love with military romance. But this one just, it didn't do it for me. I felt like there were all these puzzle pieces and they just weren't fitting right, if that makes sense. And then she tried to do this kind of twist at the end that didn't really feel twisty or work out in my opinion. I ended up giving this book another 3.5 stars. Again, it wasn't awful. It was probably my high expectations that kind of hurt my reading experience in a way, but this is definitely not her best. If you haven't read any of her romances, I definitely recommend starting off with another. The Last Letter was a 5-star read for me, so maybe start with that one. But Miss Yaros is kind of failing me lately. That's all I have to say about that one. I know I didn't really get into the story. If you're really interested, you can read the blurb. I feel bad. It just wasn't for me. So let's get to Onyx Storm. Dun, dun, dun. I am scared to talk about this book and talk about my opinion. I don't want to come off as a hater or a hypocrite because I think people love to hate on popular books. They love to hate on the TikTok book community. They love to hate on TikTok books, and I'm just like, what's the point? You know, girls, guys are reading and they're enjoying themselves, so why kick a puppy? I just don't get it. And I really don't want to sound like a hater or a hypocrite because I read for entertainment. I've said that over and over again. Most of the books I read and love aren't the best writing. It's just because they're fun. Usually when someone says, oh, there was so many plot holes in that book, I'm like, plot holes? Where? That's not my thing. I almost read like I'm watching a TV show. Like I just want to be entertained. You guys, can you tell that I'm nervous to tell you my opinion about this book? If you loved this book, gosh, I am so happy for you. I'm honestly jealous because I wanted to love this book so much, but I just didn't. I didn't love this book, and I'm going to talk about the reasons why. If you haven't read it yet, I would go ahead and kind of sign off, and don't forget about the giveaway because I'm going to talk about spoilers because I need to rant. Y'all, when I finished this at 1 a.m. on February 4th, I was so tempted to do a full Trisha Paytas kitchen floor meltdown rant about this book. This book took up half of January and the first few days of February. It never takes me that long to get through a book. Usually when I'm reading a book, I like can't wait to get back in bed and get back to my book. I was dreading every time I had to open this book, and that sounds so dramatic and so mean, but it's the truth. It just wasn't the book for me, and let's just get into why. Let's just get into why. If you disagree, I'd love to hear why in the comments. Please be nice, but I'd love to hear why you loved the book. I'd love to hear maybe why you didn't enjoy it. I know there's not a lot of you that like didn't love it. Like my whole TikTok is full of y'all loving this book. But yeah, let's just get into some of the points of why I'm not obsessed. First, the book was confusing. The book was confusing, and I don't want you to think that I just went into this book without like refreshing myself on Iron Flame and Fourth Wing. I did. I watched the 4-hour recap videos. One of the girls that I watched does such a good job and is so entertaining. I'll put her up here. I really took the time to like refresh myself on the characters and the story and the plot, whatever. I did. I took the time, and I was really excited for this book. Back to what I was saying. It was confusing. It was so confusing. And I'm even scared to say that because a lot of the comments back to that is like, well, you didn't take the time to refresh yourself on the material or the story, or you just don't understand because it's high fantasy or epic fantasy. Because I've read fantasy. I know fantasy. We're not talking about Game of Thrones here. We're not. She decided to throw in so many unnecessary characters in this book. Not only like just throw them in, but like put them in the spotlight. And that really took away from building this found family that most great series have. She should have kept the spotlight on Sawyer and Rhiannon and Riddick more. That core 4 of them that are left from the very first book. I wanted to hear more about Sawyer's journey and his leg. And of course I always want to hear more about Riddick. I mean, he's the only good part of this book. That sounds... I'm sorry. I just don't know why she was throwing in so many characters. It's hard to grow with characters, grow with their relationship with one another if you're constantly throwing new characters in the mix. I get it. With every new book, there will be new characters, but it's more new side characters, and then you have like a main 7 that you love and you get to see grow, and you get to see overcome adversity and challenges. It's already a hard job when you have characters and dragons as a pair, and the reader has to remember that character and their dragon, and to throw in 10 other characters and their griffins, it was too much. I mean, I had the cheat sheet the whole time I was reading, looking back at the cheat sheet of characters and griffins and dragons, and it was a lot. It just didn't do anything for the story. The next point I kind of want to make, kind of being an emphasis because you might gasp, but I am over Violet and Xaden. We are 3 books in, like 400,000 words later, and these two can't be on a united front. I have worked this hard to get here. These two can't be on the same page. Like, they were more on the same page in the last book. I mean, the last book was them bickering over the same thing over and over and over again. Let's just like leave Iron Flame in the past. But this book, I wanted them on the same page. The positions that Miss Yaros put Xaden in. Why is he a professor? Why is the strongest writer on the continent? I'm sorry. Teaching these kids how to defend themselves against the venom. Why is... I'm sorry. Serious. Why isn't he on the front line? Why is he the professor? I can't get over that. That makes no sense. And Violet, I get it. She's grown. Her dragons have given her a lot of confidence. Xaden has given her a lot of confidence. But you cannot convince me otherwise that this is not the same character that we read in Fourth Wing. She is so different. Does she still have a chronic illness? Yeah, but that's about it. She's now this kind of like sassy, bossy girl when in the first book she was more shy, more timid. And that kind of growth, that kind of 180 doesn't happen in like a few years. And it kind of made me feel like, is being shy bad? Is being a little timid sometimes bad? Is being more on the quiet side bad? I don't know. Who is Violet Sorrengail? I don't know anymore. Who is she gonna be in the next book? I don't know. I don't know. But back to like their relationship, and I know I'm all over the place, you guys, but you got, just let me rant. They are so repetitive. And they're like banter now, like the he's mine. Oh god, I'm sorry for that. Just what they say to each other has become so repetitive and a little cringy. And thank God he doesn't call her Violence anymore, because I gave Fourth Wing 5 stars, baby. I love that book. But the whole Violence nickname was a slight ick. So I love that he's calling her Love now instead of Violence, but still, I know y'all are obsessed with Xaden. He's your book boyfriend. I don't know. He's not doing it for me anymore. I'm not trying to rip this book to shreds, but I committed so much time to this book that I feel like I have the right to kind of just go off a little bit. Why are we world building in book 3? Why are we world building? And why are we going to all these different aisles? And then you go to the map in the front of the book and the aisles aren't even there. We're like island hopping and there's no islands. The whole book is about them going from one island to the next, and they're not even in the map on the front of the book. So I have no idea where these dragons are flying. I have no idea where they are. Are they in the east, the west? I don't know. Why wasn't it on the map? And why are we world building? Like, shouldn't the world already be established? Right? Am I wrong? I get if you like add a new place in the book, but like, and I would say the biggest frustration that I had with this book, it could literally make me cry, is that we ended Iron Flame with Xaden turning venom, which I hated. I hated that. And then I read all of Onyx Storm just for Xaden to be more venom? Am I insane? What? Why? Why? We had a whole book to figure this out. I read a whole book for this solution and we got nowhere. We got I need to calm down. we got absolutely nowhere. I read this entire book of Violet trying to figure out how we cure venom, and we got nowhere. He's just more venom. I can't be the only one that is thinking this. I get it, the end of the book had like these Easter eggs and you're trying to figure out, but it pissed me off so much that he was just more venom. I can't get past it. I can't. And I want to say this with as much love as possible, but I don't think anyone on this green earth can convince me that Rebecca Yarros knew where this series was going when she wrote Fourth Wing. I think she was a romance reader that got pulled over to try romantasy because it's really popular right now, and she wrote Fourth Wing and it was a huge hit and it was a good entertaining book, and then because it was such a huge hit and a bestseller and like the best book of the year, they gave her this 5-book contract, and she's just figuring it out as we are. Honestly, that's how I feel. She makes it a point to say in every interview that she had these plans all along. She knew from the start where this book was going. She's not fooling me. I do not trust that at all. I do not believe that at all, and no one can convince me otherwise. We're in book 3 and the marked ones now have 2 signets. Where the heck did that come from? Like seriously, I think there was like one little hint of it in Iron Flame, but I think it was really a mess up on her part, and she was like, bright idea. Let's give all the marked ones second signets. Even though we've been in multiple wars and multiple battles and a lot of people have lost their lives, we haven't seen signs of these second signets and these like huge signs of these second signets in these past battles, but you're gonna see them now. Like I also feel like she writes these books for the girls and guys that are chronically online. The girls and guys that are chronically on TikTok, and I get that. That's her base. TikTok is her base. And again, I don't like when people talk down to readers that like book talk books. But again, at the end of every chapter, something so unnecessarily dramatic happened. It was like, I would get to the last page of a chapter and literally think to myself, gosh, I wonder who's gonna get poisoned or stabbed or die this chapter. And it's like she's doing it just to keep your attention, and she's doing these things, these wild things that are doing nothing for the plot, nothing for the story. It's just to keep your attention. Have we really come this far? Can we not pay attention for more than 10 pages without someone dying or being stabbed? I didn't love that. And I know I just said so many negative things about the book, and you're probably thinking, well, she's done with this series. She's probably not gonna read the last 2 books of the series. Oh, I am, because I'm just glutton for punishment. But it's more than that. I really do like the fandom. Like, I love seeing y'all on TikTok and connecting all these dots and trying to figure out the mysteries in this series. And there's just not a lot of books that have this much hype around release days, and I love that. Call me crazy, I love waking up at 6 a.m. on a release day. It's so exciting. I love seeing all the readers there and us talking about it and us being excited together. So the fandom really is my favorite part of the series, not the books themselves. So I will continue, and again, I have this thing where it's like once I start a series, I have to finish it. I think it's my OCD. All that being said, I gave the book 3 stars, but that 3 stars was for Riddick and Riddick alone. And it was 3 stars because I read the whole book. So there's my review of Onyx Storm. It was aggressive. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you felt like I was yelling at you. I didn't mean it to do that. I've been holding in these frustrations for a very long time, and I needed to talk to you guys about it. I need to hear your opinions. I've been just bottling up these emotions, waiting to talk to y'all about this flipping book. I mean, good for Rebecca Yarros for inflicting this kind of emotion out of me. At least she made me feel something, right? So that was my first monthly wrap up. What a journey. What a journey. don't forget that I will be giving away, I really sold you on this one, didn't I? I will be giving away a brand new Onyx Storm, and if you want the collector's edition, go over on my Instagram page. You guys, I will get better at uploading these monthly wrap-ups in a timely manner. Until then, I hope you guys are having a great February. Hope you guys had a great Valentine's or Galentine's. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye.